Bezrat Hashem. Bezrat Hashem, Boker Tov. So we are in Bekiim Bahalacha. So says over here, Chatan bar mitzvah shishalmu lo yud gimel shana v'yom echad achar Rosh Chodesh Av. If a person has his bar mitzvah, a child has his bar mitzvah after Rosh Chodesh Av, mutar lo listaper b'yom bar mitzvah shuhu yom simchat libo. He's allowed to get a haircut even though it's after Rosh Chodesh. He's allowed to get a haircut because it's his day of simcha. Okay? What? Yeah. So normally for Sfaradim, we know that we hold only from Shavua Shechalbo. But he's saying even for those that say that it starts from Rosh Chodesh, okay, or for sure for the Ashkenazim that say that it starts from not for sure for the Ashkenazim, or like the Ashkenazim and some customs, like Rav Elmaleh mentioned yesterday. He said that there were some customs that they had for the hair. They had the hair only during the 3 weeks, right? And the beard, they would to shave. They said only Shavua Shechalbo. Why? Because they said the hair is very easy. So even if a person had this minhag, if his bar mitzvah was after Rosh Chodesh, he would be allowed to get a haircut. Aval b'Shavua Shechalbo Tisha Beav en le'atir, but Shavua Shechalbo en le'atir. Ulam, however, mutar lo lilvosh bigdei Shabbat biyom habar mitzvah. He's allowed to wear bigdei Shabbat biyom habar mitzvah, aval lo begadim chadashim mamash, but not new clothes mamash. So we know that Shavua Shechalbo, normally you're not supposed to wear freshly laundered clothes, or even if it wasn't freshly laundered, but it's clean clothes that were laundered, right? You're not supposed to wear them. But for the Bar Mitzvah, he's allowed to wear them, but he shouldn't be wearing new clothes. Okay. I think it's no, not yet. No, 121. Okay. חתן בתוך 7 ימי המשתה שלו שחלו בשבוע שחל בו תשעה באב. A חתן that has the 7 ימי המשתה that falls out during the שבוע שחל בו תשעה באב, יש לו על מה שיסמוך להסתפר ולהתגלח כל 7 ימי המשתה. There are those that allow him to get a haircut during the 7 ימי משתה. Okay, so note 121, he says, although in the case of a circumcision, the Baalei Brit should not cut their hair if it's after Shabbat Chazon, as is explained above in Halacha 101, it is permissible for a newlywed groom, since our sages compared him to a king. For the same reason, Maran the Rishon Etzion ruled that if a newlywed groom is in mourning over one of his parents, he may nevertheless cut his hair anytime after the Shiva is over or during the week of Tisha Beav. He explained there specifically that in this regard, the halacha is more lenient for a newlywed groom than it is for Baalei Brit. In the original edition of Yalkut Yosef, it appears that the halacha is identical for Baalei Brit and for a newlywed groom. Okay, now we are Kuf Hey. If a person has a meeting with a very important minister of the Goyim, and he's not able to appear in front of him with a not properly shaved beard, he should try very hard to be a sandak. Even if he's going to have to pay money to the parents of the baby, because it's going to be his Yom Tov, and then he would be allowed to get a haircut. Okay, 122. Although the halacha is technically that a sadak may not cut his hair if the circumcision takes place after Shabbat Chazon, as we explained before, there is some basis to permit it, as explained in the footnote to that halacha, meaning halacha 101. In this case, since it is very important to be presentable in honor of the government official, this person is meaning, he may rely on that lenient opinion. Maran Rishon Zion in Chazon Ovadia wrote that many years ago he was approached by the Minister of Interior Moshe Shapira, who explained that in his capacity he had to host many government officials who come visit from other countries. At this time, unfortunately, he was in mourning for a relative, and it was still during the first 30 days. Maran ruled that whenever such a meeting would be scheduled, he should arrange to be sandak at a circumcision so that he can shave before meeting those officials. Okay? Kuvav. אסור לגדולים לספר קטנים בשבוע שחל בו תשעה באב. the adults cannot give haircuts to the ktanim b'shavua shechal bo Tisha Beav. Okay, we have a mitzvah to 123. We have a mitzvah to train our children to keep the mitzvot and the halachot of Ben Hametsarim. Some poskim suggest that the adults must refrain from cutting their children's hair to add to the sense of mourning. The Hatziyun explains that according to the second reason, this rule applies even to the children who are younger than the age of chinuch, that you would still have the obligation, the isur of cutting their hair. Mutar lesandak. Mutar lisrok b'masrek se'arot harosh. You can comb your hair with a brush, or hazakan, or with the beard. B'shavua shechal bo Tisha Beav, during the Shavuot shechal bo Tisha Beav. Ben ish ben isha v'chen haminhag ve'en leachmir b'zeh klal. And this is the custom, and we don't say he might pull out hair, so it's like a haircut. Ve'en leachmir b'zeh klal. Okay. מותר ליטול הציפורניים אפילו במספריים גם בשבוע שחל בו תשעה באב. You can cut your nails with a nail clipper even שבוע שחל בו תשעה באב. ויש להיזהר תמיד ליטול הציפורניים העודפים על הבשר, and it's always very important to be careful about cutting the nails if they pass over the skin even a little bit. Yeah, okay. So it's very, very important to always cut the nails, or to never allow the nails to grow past the skin. 124. Okay. The Turei Zahav ruled that it is forbidden to cut one's nails during the week of Tisha Beav. These their days are mourning, and the Shulchan Aruch ruled that it is forbidden to cut one nail during the 7 days of Shiva. Several other Achronim ruled likewise. The Magen Avraham, on the other hand, explained that although a mourner may not cut his nails with scissors or clippers during his Shiva, the week of Tisha Be'av has lesser degree of mourning than that of Shiva. We may not invent new prohibitions on our own. Rabbeinu Oziel, stated that we cannot assume that the halachot of Tisha Be'av are identical to those of mourning, meaning we can't just say, it's the same thing like mourning. Maran Rishon Etzion, Chazon Ovadia, cited a number of poskim who ruled stringently in this manner, and a number of poskim who ruled leniently. For example, he said a response of Maram Chalawa, who ruled explicitly that it is permissible to cut one's nails during the week of Tisha Be'av. Maran concluded that in light of this ruling by such an early authority, there is no doubt that it is permissible. 125. Maran Rishon Etzion explained that even if someone has a definite tradition to refrain from cutting his nails during the week of Tisha Be'av, he should nevertheless cut them if they have grown long and protrude beyond the ends of the fingers. As proof, he has cited the Ben Ish Chai, who ruled that one may not cut the fingernails during the week of Tisha Be'av, but he himself ruled that if one's nails protrude beyond the ends of the fingers, he may cut them even on the day of Tisha Be'av itself, but to do it out of the view of others, meaning others shouldn't see it. When one has long fingernails, he explained, the evil spiritual forces attach themselves to that person. Someone who allows his nails to grow long will receive a harsh punishment. So that's why it's very important to cut the nails. Amen ve'amen.